So I got a call the other day from a friend of mine whose yard I take care of and had some issues with a zoysia lawn, but I want to talk to you about other grass too, so this is not just for zoysia people. But the grass was not greening up quite like we thought it would this spring. So I sent a picture to my friend James, who's been on the show before, and I want to talk to you about what we think might be going on with this lawn, and then we're gonna hopefully solve the problem. I want to show you some before and after footage on this video and show you what we're gonna do to solve the problem. All right, so here's the yard, little tiny yard, zoysia grass. I'm filming this during the month of April, and unfortunately I already got nutsedge popping up everywhere, which is just a problem in this yard. But when I saw the pictures that the customer had sent me, I was seeing stuff like this. You know, and I was looking at it, I was like, well, what could be going on there? It doesn't look like a fungus. And in this particular situation, when I see this dark brown grass, to me it looked like it had been just cut a little bit short, and it just takes the green color out. You see that's got some green color. It's not as green as we'd like, but for April, that's not terrible, even early April. And while you're watching, if you have any thoughts, you can leave them in the comments. I sent the pictures to my friend James, and he said, you know what? He sees a lot of zoysia lawns, and he said it's just been a tough year for zoysia. He said we've had inconsistent weather. I'm in Alabama, and so it'll start to warm up, and then we'll get down low 40s, and the zoysia just wants that hot, consistent weather and water, and so just those cold temperatures is making it hard to green up. And not only that, just a few weeks ago we had freezing temperatures, so it had greened up some. Then you get a frost, you end up with a blotchy pattern with some green and some brown in the same lawn. And so that's what it basically looks like. You see it's just real inconsistent, green, brown, green, brown. So it could be a little bit of frost damage in that situation. But another thing we talked about in this particular yard, now I told James I said this yard is emerald zoysia and it gets very, very thick in the summertime. So he talked to me about thatch in particular, and I learned a lot about thatch. So thatch is not necessarily last year's dead grass laying there. Thatch is that dead plant material that is slow to break down. So in some situations, when you mow the grass and you've got grass laying there, those clippings are going to break down really fast and actually provide some nutrients back to the soil. But in other situations, a lot of times like on a zoysia lawn, there's just layers and layers of that thatch that's slow to break down, and eventually it starts being an inhibitor toward that flow of the nutrients and the water down to the roots, and that's when it becomes a problem. So with this yard being so thick and probably not being dethatched in years, if ever, I thought it might be a good idea to dethatch this lawn, try to get some of that out, try to get some of the thatch out where it's not so much dead plant material in the yard. And so that's what we're going to do today. And then we're going to come back later. I've actually already fertilized this yard. We're going to come back maybe in 2 or 3 weeks and see what this yard looks like after it's been dethatched and after some warmer temperatures. Now, as I explained to customers, I said sometimes it might look a little bit uglier when you dethatch it, but I think ultimately it's going to be beneficial on. I don't think the recovery process is going to be that long after dethatching it. So I bought this dethatcher off Amazon. It actually works pretty good. It's really lightweight. So I'm going to use this, go over this yard. It bags the clippings for you. It only detaches, but it bags them for you, which is great. It is electric, so I've got to drag around an extension cord. So let's get started with this thing, and then we'll check back and see what we can do to make this yard look better. And hopefully we're going to get the improvements we want by the end of this video. Okay, so this thing's doing a pretty good job detaching, not a great job sucking up what it pulls up from the ground. And some detachers don't even have a bagger, they just simply pull it up from the ground. So since it's such a small yard, I'm probably just gonna rake this up. You could come behind it with a bag and mower or something like that. But you can see I've got piles and piles of thatch that's pulled up off the ground. So I think if the object is, hey, let this grass breathe a little easier, let the water and the nutrients get down in the roots, I think we've probably accomplished that. It just needs some time to see how well it works. Let the warmer weather help it also. Let's rake this up. We'll give it a little time and then see what happens. All right, we got it dethatched, got it raked up in the bag. Let's give it a few weeks, check back, and we'll see what it looks like with warmer weather and with a little bit more nutrients and water being able to get through the soil now that that thatch is gone. Well, we want to check on the lawn that we came in here and we dethatched. It's been about a month ago, and let's see what it looks like now and kind of give you an update on the lawn. All right, here it is. This is the emerald zoysia lawn that we dethatched. As far as the actual grass goes, we have had a challenging spring this year in our area with some cool nights. Even now in late May, today the high I think was 70 degrees, which is kind of unusually low for a high temperature. So with that being said, like the zoysia lawns and some of the other grass types have just been very slow to wake up out of dormancy. But with this lawn, it's got fertilizer and warmer weather on the way. You can see that it is starting to recover some and starting to show some green color. Now what I am noticing, and this yard seems to have a bigger problem than a lot of them, is this nut sage. And more nut sage and more nut sage. That's going to be a summer issue on this lawn. There's products out there like Pro Sage and Certainty and Solero and others that are good for getting rid of nut sage, or I say getting rid of, more suppressing it than anything, but they can definitely help with nut sage. But I do think overall getting rid of the thatch in this lawn and dethatch, not all of it, but I think it is going to help this lawn have a more prosperous summer. And as this weather warms up, I think we're going to see this thing continue to green up with that fertilizer kicking in. As far as the nut sage, running irrigation once a week can definitely help with that instead of running it multiple times a week, because it does like when the yard stays wet. I appreciate you watching the video. Hopefully you learned something about dethatching, about lawn care, and it can take time. The weather is going to be a big factor on how these lawns look. But if you want to get in weed control and fertilization like me, go to lawncarelife.com, check out the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. Also, click on the link on lawncarelife.com for the 2024 Lawn Care Life Conference, which is coming up February 2024. Got some exciting guests to be a part of that. Only 300 spots available, so would encourage you to go ahead and reserve your seat for that if that's something you want to come. It's in Springville, Alabama, outside of Birmingham. I have got a ton of lawn care videos on YouTube. If you hadn't done so, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Leave me a comment too if you have questions about the yard or any kind of lawn care, and we'll see you guys in the next video.